The Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission visits communities across Canada to answer questions about how it regulates the nuclear industry, protecting the health, safety, and security of Canadians and the environment. One of the ways we do this is through an information session called CNSC 101. This video is the first of 5 produced from this CNSC 101 information session. It explains the history of the CNSC.
This handsome fellow there was the first president that was appointed after the war to head the new Atomic Energy Control Board. As of 1945, after the bombs were dropped in Japan, the international community, realizing the danger, inherent danger associated with nuclear and radioactivity, decided to join hands together and really develop programs for the peaceful use of atoms. Nuclear power reactor, medicine, for instance, for hospital purposes and whatnot. Though after 1945 it started, Canada, the UK, the Americans, the British, Australia, basically were the ones who had access to nuclear. And then after that, France and other countries. During the 1970s, as we know, there was an increased focus on licensing. Between 1954 and 1970, for instance, there were a lot of changes. For people who work at ACL, ACL was created, I believe, in 1952, or somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. And what happened, though, is that between 1945 and, say, 1942, the Atomic Energy Control Board was regulating but also managing laboratories, Chalk River, mining, processing. So we were basically one agency that did everything, regulating and promoting at the same time. Around the world, in the early 50s, people realized that it wasn't a good idea to have a regulator that was also responsible for the promotion of nuclear. So it was an international movement to create an independent regulator that started, not just in Canada. In Canada, with the creation of ACL, with the creation of, not creation, but the removal from the Atomic Energy Control Board, the responsibility for the mines, processing, laboratories, and ACL, it really created an independent institution. I refer to them often as Abel and Cain because they worked very closely together for many years. And culminating with the crisis in 2007, there was always, problems sometimes in regard to our different positions. Then, in the 1980s, the privatization of mining and processing happened. So Cameco, for instance, took over the mines, and then Areva bought in, and there's also Denison Limited that was also involved in mining. So Canada divested itself of the mines. There was also the creation of Nordion, the pharmaceutical medical isotope marketing agency, if we can call it. The ACL produces most of the isotopes, and Nordion sells them with other companies, like there's another company that, Covidian. So what happened is that Nordion took over from ACL the commercialization of medical isotopes. And now you may know Nordion had sued the government because they shut down the Maple reactors, and they also canceled the contract for providing Nordion with isotopes. And so far, they went to arbitration, and a couple of weeks ago, the 3 judges that were appointed to hear the arbitration ruled in favor of ACL. And it was a question of over $2 billion. So now ACL and Nordion in particular is looking at whether or not they're going to appeal this arbitration decision to the courts. They have 90 days to do that. In addition to this, there's a $2.6, I think, or $2.2 billion lawsuit against the government and ACL, so we don't know what Nordion's going to do. So we're waiting to see. CNSC is not directly involved in those litigation, but we follow them very, very closely because we provide a lot of the records. And also our experts may be tasked to present evidence in court. In 2000, significant event. It's actually in 1997, the Nuclear and Safety Control Act was passed. The new act was basically designed to create an agency with more teeth and an agency with more power. It also provided, as we'll see through the Nuclear Safety Control Act, a lot of new tools for enforcement and compliance. Also created designated officers, obligation to have financial guarantees. You'll hear during the presentations the commission, the staff, or you may hear this when there's hearings and meeting. The commission is basically the 7 members that usually sit at the back. We only have 6 now. And they are very much independent from the staff. The staff never deals directly with commission member except with our president, as we see in the presentation, who plays the role of president, CEO, but also chair of the commission. We are known as the Canada Nuclear Watchdog. Our president is currently in Vienna at the General Conference, which is basically the conference of the members, the head of the agencies, members of the International Atomic Energy Agency, and he's already made a presentation which is available on our website. I encourage you to go on our website. There's lots of good information.